might fight under the LAW, it is actually the LOA. Sovereignty means we can finally be free of the government, do our own things, govern our own people.
Do they realise what that flag is? That's invading us, the Aboriginal people. Took away all our rights, dispossessed us of the land, fenced us out like sheep, turned us into slaves, massacred us.
We are going to rise up as black people and we're going to demand that the truth be told.
What do you want?
We want the freedom to be able to walk the streets with our children. We want the freedom to be able to get equal education. So many issues that we have binds us to change. That's what we're here about, to try and snap away from that there and get freedom back into our lives.
I've been with the New Ngātatea Embassy ever since day one. Harrison Island. That's a sacred site, that's a birthing place for women. Kids were doing corroborees and dance, and there was storytelling, making dampers, making kangaroo meat. That's how we were surviving. I was there right through until the police came.
Police made several arrests as they moved in yesterday on Aboriginal activists who'd been camping on Harrison Island in the Swan River for weeks.
Move back.
The helicopters came, divers came, you name it, and they came.
Come on, here they come, the troops, the military, here they are. This is our sanctuary where you have no jurisdiction whatsoever.
Colin Barnett had given the order that we have to be removed.
I'm appealing to the people on Harrison Island to leave. You have made your point.
I think what we're going to have to do is go down there and sort it out once and for all.
Come on, Bo, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? Why are you going to do that? Why are you going to jump for the part of the
That's what we stood for at Matagara, the big issues. The police came down there with horses, guns, dogs and everything. Dragged a pregnant woman with a horse, galloped away and carried a camp like this with him.
Are you going to report that? The horse almost stepped on the baby!
Attacked a woman! Is that okay? You think that's okay?
I've suffered racism for 60 years in Western Australia.
They took everything, all our possessions. We was left with what we were standing on. Generators, bedding, camping equipment, SVs, you name it, and they took it.
Took my walking stick away, threw it in the back of a truck. Mingley, they took her wheelchair away, she never saw that again.
But they thought that that would break us as human beings. It didn't break us.
What's going to achieve go over at Yagan?
Because they can't come to the gates. It's a sacred site.
And we are asking all our ancestors for their spirits to come up through the ground to protect us from this attack.
But we've been fighting in the courts and that, a couple of issues, and we've won because we just tell the Western Australian government that we're sovereign people within our own rights and that they've got no jurisdiction and we don't come under their law. Using those lines are very successful with us as a group because we've been teaching people, you have to stand up for what you believe.
We want our children back.
22 generations of my family being taken, 22 generations.
And we want it to stop.
Children still being removed forcibly from their homes. A lot of death in custody. A lot of the women are being imprisoned.
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
And they're just spreading the word of sovereignty.
I've carried coffins up to Parliament House with late grandfather, Mr. Coleman, and Clary Isaacs, because of the treatment of our people. And it's still going on, Still going on. It's very sad.
I woke up one morning and I said to my partner, I'm going to call a summit, a national summit to get everybody together. And then all of a sudden we had the summit in Alice Springs. And heads of the nation being assembled at the old bungalow, Alice Springs, declared the independence of our people, which is hereby constituted and declared to be an independent sovereign nation under the designation of United Tribes of the Land.
I've been moving around the country for a bit trying to find, some grassroots solutions on how to fix some of the problems that we have back home in WA. Had a chance to listen to some of the things that they had to say at the Freedom Summit.
The invasion that's taken away the rights and dignity of Aboriginal people to save for themselves within their system.
A lot of it was about our issues and taking back control and mobilising the people.
From Western Australia, I'm nominating Vanessa Colbung. And if you see the media, this young lady here in Western Australia has a high profile.
There was an election of 20 delegates. Our job was to go back to country and mobilise our people.
We came back from the Freedom Summit and they spoke about different issues that were happening in each state, and what they noticed was same things that we're constantly fighting for, but we're all trying to fight it by ourselves. The people in New South Wales have the same issue with incarceration as the people in WA, so why can't we work together?
We don't agree entirely.
So this gathering here on Australia Day is the follow-up meeting with our mobs so we can discuss what other issues and then build.
And it's absolutely great. It makes me proud, and I think it makes me proud to be an Aboriginal man. And everybody else that's here, I think they're all proud, including the non-Aboriginal community, because we need a lot of their support, but we need Aboriginal people to unite as one.
We represent Noongar 10 Embassy and are acting on behalf of the 14 Noongar nations. We are currently seeking support and trying to fundraise for us to travel to Canberra on the 26th of January 2015 to demand a declaration of independence from the government.
Canberra.
It was hard. We found out like 3 or 4 weeks before we had to come over here.
How's it going?
So we spent the entire time fundraising. We did a darts night, quiz night, a few concerts. There was a divas night with all the ladies, hip hop night, all awesome. We had good turnouts at all of them.
As soon as they said they wanted to get over here, we just kind of offered the bus and that we could drive everyone over to be a part of this gathering, and yeah, whatever we can do to support that and help people out, it's just our honour.
Half the stuff I saw on the trip, I couldn't believe it was just so cool. Like we saw weight, which means emus. We saw like six kangaroos and 2 big boomers.
Canberra. In Kalgoorlie, we're going to Canberra. Yeah, it took me a while to get to.
Our bus driver can't deal with it. He's already shaved his head.
Yeah, we was riding along and no one would listen to the kids. And as no one would listen to the kids, maybe we got a flat tire and they thought maybe the spirits came along and popped it. We changed the tire and we went to the next town. There was a pool where we were staying. Maybe they popped the tire so we can have a swim because it was like hot and we had to sit in that car for 3-4 days with no air conditioning. It's just terrible.
The highlight was bringing our young fellas over and watching them rehearse and come along because they wanted to tell their story about their journey when they got here, you know. We pulled up on the Nullarbor for a feed because we got sick of pulling in late, and the kids was rehearsing and we're taking some photos. when we later looked at the photos, we could see all these spirits coming up out of the ground. And there were hundreds of orbs in the background, and it was like, they're here, you know. They sung them up, and that was a highlight because some of these little fellas, this is the first time their journey has come this far, you know.
You know what's really funny about this? Reckon sketching you too. Oh, really?
Oh, on the line. When we arrived, it was real deadly. All the mob were anticipating our arrival. They were following us on Facebook.
And the boys got painted up and got dressed, and as we pulled in, we parked up the road and it was like, no, we'll all walk in here. And we got out and got the banners out and got out the kids, and everybody was stretching and relaxed, and we walked in with our flags and banners, and it was awesome.
We made it for our Noongar Buddha.
It was a bit overwhelming. It was sad that when I finally got here, the sadness set in, bringing the kids, you know, bringing them that far to do things that we've been doing all our life and our parents done before us, you know. I never ever thought I'd have to see the kids on one of these journeys. We've had just nothing but the best treatment since we've been here. Thank the Wiradjuri mob for letting us come and talk in the country about our issues, you know, and giving us a chance to be heard nationally. Here is where the Canberra 10 Embassy is, and where it has been for 40 years, and this is, I'm sure I heard someone say this is the only piece of land in the whole country where they can't come and remove us, and they won't come and remove us. So here we can do our business and talk what we have to talk about, without having to worry about whether or not the police are going to come in and interrupt us and drag us away like they do on the West Coast when we're at home.
We are victors today, not losers. This is the last day before the white fellas invaded. But this was our day. We were in control.
We had our trade agreements, both with our neighbouring clans. We had international trade agreements with the Dutch, the Portuguese, the Macassans. We had that.
So tomorrow they're going to do a march from 10:30 from the Civic to here. Then there's going to be Welcome to Country. The Tuesday is going to be the sit-in at Parliament House. It hasn't finalised because the whole 20 of us wasn't there. Just drafted up some of the issues, see if we can buy National Indigenous Times. How we're going to start talking about treaties between embassies. So we start doing treaties here, stop talking sovereign, start acting sovereign. They want a demand for this building to be given over to us over here, painted black, they reckon, and give it to us so we government our own affairs from there.
I think it's us women gotta stand up and take the lead, and the grandfathers come behind, because our grandfathers and uncles, they grieve in silence. We got a few of the grandmothers here against removal, and we're gonna get together and have a yarn, and mainly everybody you talk to are being affected. Well, as soon as they get an allegation from somebody ring up, or they'll just go and remove the child. they'll take children from the hospital.
We've got to protect the kids. Solicitor is to take your direction. They're not supposed to tell you to agree with docs.
What I say is, how do we heal and move on? You know, everybody got a story to tell about a stolen generation. What we are fighting is we're making sure that they do take the children, the mothers, make sure that they give them to kin of that family.
I want to reiterate on what Ray said earlier about what is no doubt the single most complex issue that I believe faces our people today, and that's the pandemic. Not the epidemic, the pandemic of suicide. When you have to tell your young people, the little children, that mummy or daddy's not coming home tonight, it's a horror that no young child should ever have to hear. No young child should ever know of that mummy or daddy got so sick that they won't be home tonight.
I really love and respect my brother Murray Jupiter Ryan, but I don't want to be in that fucking Constitution. That Constitution is not for me. They took us out of that Constitution in '67, and I don't want to be put back in there. Robert Menzies told that Parliament over there in 1965 when they were doing a bill, you take the word Aboriginal out of the Constitution, we have no power over them. We have no power over Aboriginal people. In order to pass legislation in that Parliament over there on Aboriginal people, they use Section 51, subsection 26, and they use it and they say that the act that they introduce is for the members of the Aboriginal race. We are not Australian. I don't want to be an Australian. Never ever been an Australian. I'm a Yualia Murray from Ngomeroi. People don't give one shit about us. We got people dying everywhere in this country. They're dying every day. Our kids are killing themselves. And you want to be called an Australian? You want to say you're an Australian? Fuck the Australians. That's my point.
This flag here comes from the 88 bicentennial when Auntie Maureen Colbung and Uncle Lenny Colbung, rest in peace, and all the family, Nesta Annam, was all marching in Sydney with all the mob. So they kept the flag, and we got the honour of carrying it again today to assert our sovereignty once again in a big national march. Just awesome.
They're going to run around and celebrate 200 years of this and 200 years of that. Crossing of the Blue Mountains, for example. Blaxland, Wentworth and Lawson. For fuck's sake, all they did was follow a black man. I'm appalled that our people have been using for thousands, if not millions of years, to trade with the Sydney mob. How dare they keep perpetuating these lies? We as Aboriginal people have to free our minds. Revolutionise the thought in this country, how we think and why we think. It's ours. They're the thieves, they're the murderers, they're the liars. They need to recognise that they've got a sickness called racism and they've exploited it around the world and treated people like animals because they think in their greed they have the right to do this. No, they do not. They think they've wiped us out. They think they've been successful in genocide and extermination. We're stronger than that. We always have been. And that's their biggest fear.
Represent the Wild Wild West. That's right out of Bella.
care about constitution or recognition. We want that sovereignty. We want control of our own government, of our own. Let our people do it, you know. Committed Aboriginal people. Maureen's grandchildren coming up. They march with us. They're going to take on the role.
I had to do this journey. I'm 64 years old. I'm battling to walk from A to B. But this was something that had to be done. And I'm hoping that my kids will pick up.
The WA boys leaded the march. We'll come back next time.
Are you ready? Louder!
I hope our people can see the strength and unity within us and come and stand with us and join us in what's right, put the balance right back into the earth, into the world. No more mistreatment for no one.